flu-like symptoms all of the time, and weak and exhausted, and the exhaustion was kind of growing and growing and growing. The first crashes came.
Our second COVID infection, and from there on it was rock bottom. We were completely dead.
Antonia, if I may ask, you're a general practitioner, right? Like a doctor?
Yeah.
Did you first go into this direction, looking into the medical field, what you could do?
And so she realized that we have tried everything and it can't be that.
Before I was really mind-driven, always busy. I was really stuck in my head, I would say.
And how was it for you to have this knowing that you can have a symptom and then after a release, your symptoms might be gone?
It kind of feels like we're in control again, but also knowing we're not in control at all at the same time. Wow, I'm feeling again. One of the most beautiful experiences in my life. So
no, I just thought I had my 3 or 4 major releases, I'm fine now. And I didn't want to look deeper. I cried, I had shivers. Yeah, now I'm feeling much better. I'm just running around with a smile. Like you learn how to speak a language. That's the feeling. I can speak to my body and my emotions, and that's simply great.
This is really life-changing. It's amazing.
Hi, welcome Antonia and welcome Peter. I'm so glad you both wanted to do the interview because I think your story is unique. First of all, because you're a couple navigating together through a chronic disease. But more importantly, because the wisdom that you both shared was just so beautiful and I loved interacting with you. So thank you very much. Yeah, let's start at the beginning. When did you both notice that your health was declining?
Hello, Daniel. Well, for us, it was the first impression that our health was declining in some way was probably, many years ago. I think our health issues developed really slowly over some years. And in 2002, we had our first COVID infection. This was probably 22. Yeah, this was probably the major trigger for us. So afterwards, we developed many symptoms we didn't know before. And this was probably the time when our fatigue syndrome started. But already before, we had some slight symptoms, I suppose, that probably could have showed us already something, but we didn't really listen to it.
Yeah, we were in our 20s and we had a lot of energy, so coping mechanisms worked perfectly. And but in the retrospective, Tony is right, we had symptoms for a long time. So I was always in a hurry. I was always driven. I needed a feeling of productivity and performance. And I had always the urge to do something in a productive way. And so I was in permanent arousal for like 20 years. I had reflux almost all my life long, and also allergic symptoms for over 10 years now. So it developed step by step.
Probably the first thing for me, because Peter was talking about being active and doing things all the time. So we were really involved in doing sports. And this was probably the first sign for us that something was going on or something wasn't right, because we really love to do sports, like sports climbing and hiking and running. And this was the first sign for us that this wasn't possible any longer, or we couldn't do it as often as we wanted to, or not as intense as we wanted to do it. So this was probably the first major sign we felt, oh, something is going on here. Why aren't we as we were before? Why aren't we normal anymore?
You have both had COVID at the same time?
Yeah.
Wow, you really do everything together.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was not planned.
We're kind of synchronized in a way.
Yeah.
And how did it go from there?
Well, we had those infection symptoms. They went off quite soon. It was in summer, actually, very hot and nice weather, and it was really unusual to have a COVID infection at that time. And afterwards, we felt really good. We felt normal for some months, but it started in fall, like September or October, where we started to have many infections, other infections all the time, like flu-like symptoms all of the time, and felt really weak and exhausted. And the exhaustion was kind of growing and growing and growing. This was probably, those were the first signs, I guess. And yeah, with this, the fatigue developed slowly, and the first crashes came after some really, in the beginning, after hard activities like sports or work or something. And over the time, we developed crashes after also small triggers. This was quite overwhelming in the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah. And so in the year 2023, it went downhill for me because I worked all the time, and I was unfit for work for 6 weeks. So in Germany, this is the longest period you can be unfit for work. But the other time, the whole year, I worked with symptoms. So it was really not a nice year for me. And we even had to cancel our holiday because in holiday I had a crash. We did a camping holiday, and it was not possible for me to sleep or to do anything. It was a real crash. So I was happy enough to drive the car back home, and from that point on, we knew that something is wrong. So in September 2023, we stumbled across your program and we started it. But in December 2023, we had our second infection, our second COVID infection, and from there on, it was rock bottom. We were completely dead.
Yeah.
And Antonia, if I may ask, you're a general practitioner, right? Like a doctor?
Yeah.
Did you first go into this direction, looking into the medical field, what you could do?
Yeah, this was probably my first way how I tried to handle it, because I was working at a small family doctor's office at this time, and I was in contact with many patients that had COVID and long COVID and also chronic fatigue syndrome. I already knew this from work, but yeah, in the beginning I was really struggling with it. I think I was in resistance and didn't want to realize that almost the same thing was going on with me. So it took me a long time to realize, oh, I'm having kind of long COVID or a chronic fatigue syndrome starting here. So I was really in resistance. This took me a long time to kind of accept that, acknowledge that, and also look for help for myself, and also ask for help and other doctors, for example. So this was the first way of my journey. And of course, in the beginning, I was really focused on the somatic part. I tried to I tried out many different types of medication. Like, we had a lot of pain. Of course, we used many different painkillers, for example. We also had allergic symptoms and food intolerances. So we tried diets and probiotics and also anti-allergic medication like that. And we also had some severe infections. We took antibiotics. And a colleague of mine told me about a special theory about the serotonin that might be low in long COVID patients. And so we also took antidepressant for a time. So we tried many different pills, actually. Sometimes I couldn't even count them anymore. And we also tried some supplements and stuff like that, everything that is recommended in this case. And yeah, after some time, after some month, it just felt overwhelming. I was like, oh, I'm only eating pills. That's all I am eating, actually. And I can't eat gluten foods anymore, for example. And as we had a really, really strong diet going on at this time, and well, it felt kind of really, really depressive and kind of, it didn't really feel right. At this time, I felt, wow, I think there has to be a change somehow. I don't know really how or when or what we are going to change, but something has to change. And this was the time when we came across meditation techniques and your program. And this was the moment when I felt, wow, this really connects to me. And I think this is the right way. And I want to try it. And I want to leave the other things behind.
So you might think that Antonia's profession might be an obstacle, but Antonia is really a structured person. And so she realized that we have tried everything and it can't be that. So that's why we made a hard cut. And well, there's a reason why we found your program.
Yeah. And a huge influence was also Dan Buglio. You mentioned him in a podcast, I think, and we came across his videos, and I still remember the time when we watched some videos of him and he explained the tension myositis syndrome, the pain and all the symptoms that can occur, and that stuck emotions and stress and can cause all the symptoms. And I don't know, the way he put it, he explained it, it was just so simple and practical. It just clicked for me the one day, and I thought, wow, yeah, that is it. That's the way. And I started, I stopped to take any medication from this day on. And this was really a crazy moment because from one day to another, all my food intolerances and allergic symptoms just passed away. And I just was so angry at this time. And I said, no, I want to eat a normal in a normal way again. I want to eat normal food. I want to eat everything I want to, and I just did it, and it worked out. And this was the first key moment for me, the first experience that was really intense.
For 9 months now, we don't take any medication, really nothing, and I don't have don't catch a cold, for example. I have fatigue symptoms, okay, but it's declining. But I didn't have any flu or a cold or something like that. I'm just healthy.
Wow. Yeah, I also don't take any supplements anymore. I remember this counter full of hundreds of those things, like all my money spent on it, and then it's like, did it work? Maybe a little bit, or maybe not.
Yeah.
Hey, and you were having a child, right? Right. So how was this going as a family with the two of you and a child? I mean, if both parents are unable to live a normal life, so what happens then?
Yeah, this was probably the hardest part, because this was probably the very special worst case scenario for us, because not only one of us was sick, we were both sick, and we're parents and have a child. So this was a really tough situation. I also want to add that the birth of our daughter was probably also a big trigger. Many things changed for us. It was just such an overwhelming experience, and I think our daughter triggered us in so many ways with her experiences and feelings, and this kind of triggered our healing way, I think. She was born in 2020, and our first infection was 2 years later. So those were all steps that kind of started our healing journey.
And before her birth, we had a long period of free time, you can call it like that. You mentioned it in your program that every fatigue patient has a long time of free time where everything can come up. And that happened for us just before the birth of our daughter. And then she arrived, and she's a highly energetic child. That's another point. She's like a nuclear power station, you know, and we were both just like rock bottom in bed, you know. It was the worst case of the worst cases.
It was really tough, but it was also, a gift, because our daughter has the ability to heal us. She's like our inner child on the outside. So doing inner child work is so intuitive for us, because I can always think of our daughter, and I can connect to my own child too. So this is a really intuitive connection, I suppose. And I also experienced that we kind of have a family healing flow, because most of the times it's the case that only Peter or me are feeling bad. Like when Peter is feeling bad one day, I'm usually feeling quite okay and can take care of our daughter. And when he's feeling better, sometimes I'm getting triggered and can do the healing work. So nature takes care of that, I guess.
Yeah.
That's actually so beautiful. Yeah. And I've noticed as well that me and Valentina had that as well.
Wow.
So then she had a good week, and then I had a good week, but not so much together, like rarely.
Yeah. A gift and a challenge at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think a pregnancy, I mean, I've never had one, of course, but a pregnancy can be so beautiful, and having another soul inside of you, which is really pure. And a lot of women experience, I don't know the English word, like postnatal depression and other things like that. So it's like she brings the healing energy with her, but you just need to release it fully after that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I've had this somehow during pregnancy already. So this was a really special time for me. And I had this gut feeling, oh, wow, it's so beautiful being pregnant and giving birth to our daughter soon. And at the same time, I felt this pressure inside of me. Like my belly was always quite hard. And for example, I already had symptoms during pregnancy, and I already felt this kind of pressure, and that something is going on, and that her beautiful natural energy is kind of
triggering the trauma.
kind of activating something, or kind of working against something inside of me, but I couldn't really grasp it, what it was at this time.
Yeah. Hey, and when you, you chose not to go with Dan Buglio's program, but with the release program. But it's a bit different, because he is more like mentally, like there's nothing going on, and we're like, well, there is something going wrong, and we need to release that. So why did you pick this path?
Well, I think it was it just felt right, and it was kind of, we stumbled over your program, actually. So we are not the people that are hanging around the internet very much. So we didn't have any social media things going on or anything else before. So we were just kind of looking for some information about chronic fatigue syndrome. And I think Peter found a blog about chronic fatigue syndrome, about people writing about it or something like that, what kind of symptoms they had and something like that. And yeah, this was really overwhelming, but the focus was quite on the symptoms and on the bad
on the
part,
negative aspects,
on the negative aspects with it. But there was a link to your program, I think, so as one of the positive aspects of this blog. And I just clicked on it and looked at your program. And at this time, it was still the open program, like open to everybody. And I don't know. I just had the gut feeling. Oh wow, it really feels right. I want to try it. Let's do it, and it just felt right. And I also had the feeling I need some kind of reduction. I want to try this, and we tried it like half a year and really did every module, and every single module took us like 2 or 4 weeks, and we slowly started it and went on, and it just felt right, and I didn't have the urge to look for 10 other programs or something like that.
And I think, as for me, Dan Buglio's program is a part of yours. You know, your program looks on almost everything. And I think it's really, really important what Dan Buglio is saying, that that you're accepting that nothing's going wrong with you. I think it's one of the first steps before you are ready to have heavy releases, because if you're not prepared, it can cause some damage. And the first thing, you have to accept that nothing is wrong with you. And this is what Dan Buglio can provide in an easy way. It's really, for beginning, it's perfect. But we had releases, a lot of releases, and we feel that this is right for us. So we know accepting is just the first step. So that's why I think you can't really compare Dan Buglio's program and your program. It's a part of yours, I think.
I think one aspect also might be that I feel there is quite a difference between all sorts of pain, like chronic pain, chronic back pain, headaches, migraines, things like that. We have experienced those kind of pain in our life before that, so we were already used. I was used to migraines and pelvic pain, for example. And in my experience, chronic fatigue syndrome is kind of another level, or kind of another exaggeration of symptoms.
Yeah,
I have the feelings, so it's kind of something different. And I had the feeling that your experiences and your tools are the right ones for us to really heal thoroughly from the inside.
Yeah. Maybe Dan Buglio would be enough 10 years ago. but we had 10 more years with coping and life traps and accumulating bad emotions and stuff. So I think that wouldn't be enough. That's what I think.
Yeah. You already mentioned that you had a few releases in the beginning. So how was the journey to the releases? Did you believe in it, or was it scary? Was it overwhelming?
I think it was overwhelming, of course, but I think it's one of the most beautiful experiences in my life. So before, I was really mind-driven, always busy. I was really stuck in my head, I would say. I didn't really have a gut feeling, couldn't really connect to my emotions. And I was really focused on information and things like that. And those release experiences were quite a new way, and it connected to me, and I had the feeling, wow, I'm feeling again. I could talk about feelings before, and I could think about them and discuss them, but I actually didn't really feel those feelings. This was a really deep experience. So, for example, inner child work is a really strong tool for me. I had many experiences that I connected to my child, and that I felt those emotions from situations from the past again, really intensively. And when this is coming up and flowing through my body and connects to all different kinds of other situations in my life where I felt this kind of feeling, this is just amazing and great and undescribable how you feel afterwards and how your life changes.
but the first releases are just the beginning. So for me, the game changer was the thing with reflux. I had it really 20 years, and I thought that I got it from my father because he had it 40 years. And I thought, okay, it's something in my genes. I have reflux. Okay. And then Dan Buglio is also saying in one video, it's not possible that your stomach just forgot how to digest anymore. And then I really got into it. For 1 week, I had symptoms without taking any medication against it. So I hardly slept for 1 week. I just did meditation. I hardly eat stuff. And from one day to another, it stopped. So I had a condition for 20 years and it stopped within 30 minutes. And then I knew, okay, that's true. And if you feel that, I don't need any scientific proof. We are both scientists, if you like. She's a doctor, Antonia, and I'm a geographer. So we had scientific studies, a lot of, but I felt it. I knew if you have this feeling when this condition just stops and you can eat and drink whatever you want, then okay, that's the thing. So I go all in now. But at the time, you have 2 or 3 heavy releases, major releases, and you think, okay, now I'm done. I'm cool now. But nobody told us that your program is just the beginning. And many releases will follow, and that's also exhausting. You also need healing pauses. You can't just release all the time because it's also, it's a lot of work. It's really work.
Yeah, but it's a beautiful experience, and I'm thankful for the changes that came with it, how our life changed.
And how did your life change? How is it now in comparison to 6-7 years ago?
First of all, I can feel joyful again. I didn't really know what joy was before. So I can really enjoy a moment, really be in it, enjoy myself, enjoy being in nature, for example, all those nice activities I really enjoy. Feeling emotions again, this is also a really important part for me. Feeling my boundaries, for example, knowing what I want to do and what I don't want to do, for example, or what activities feel stressful, what is just great and I want to carry on. I think our life is simpler now. It was quite simple before because we're used to be really minimalistic people, and this probably helped us, and we're still, I would suppose minimalistic is the right word. And we not many things are going on. Our life is quite slow.
Yeah, I think from the outside, it doesn't look really changed for other people who see us from the outside, but from the inside, everything has changed. It's really like that. As for me, I'm a lot calmer now. I'm not a people pleaser. I used to be a terrible people pleaser without knowing it. I put a lot of energy into relationship with other people, and I didn't get the energy back. So that was self-destructive in some way. And I don't do that anymore. And so, some people are not in our life any longer because they were used to that energy flow. It's one-directional flow. And we don't do that anymore. And we don't do that much things, actually. But only the things that count, and that feels beautiful. So it's really, we can enjoy the whole day without doing a lot of stuff.
Feels like we are on a vacation.
Yeah,
all the time.
We are working now, but it feels like a vacation. That's so cool.
Wow. Hey, and Peter, we spoke a few weeks ago. Then you mentioned you still had back pain.
Yeah.
And then after that, I advised you to do some other release tools more often. And then you sent me a few beautiful emails. Could you explain to me what happened?
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, I did breathwork, so I won't recommend it for beginners because it's really an advanced technique. And as I told you in the session, I did karate, so I had some connections to breathwork. I knew this tool before, but this transformative breathwork where you really go all in, I think it's really advanced, and I think I'm a master of breathwork now. And this is just one aspect. This is the somatic aspect, and the other one is I focused on the right feelings. Those I didn't want to see before. I just thought I had my 3 or 4 major releases. I'm fine now, and I didn't want to look deeper. And that's what I actually did. I looked at the emotions that were hurting, that I didn't want to see, and then I did breath work. And this combination was extreme. It was really extreme. So I cried. I had shivers. I had all possible release. I would call it symptoms, and that changed. So I had another 30-minute release. Like 2 or 3 major 30 minutes releases, and yeah, now I'm feeling much better.
And then you wrote me that you felt like a 7-year-old child being amazed with life.
Yeah, that's good. That's really crazy.
You were walking barefoot.
Yeah.
And do you still have that, or how was it?
Yeah, I still have that. I'm from on the feeling level. I'm feeling like a little boy. It's really cool. So it's also cool with my daughter because it's easier for me to play with her, to come in this childish playing. And on the energy level, I'm feeling like I don't know, like 20 years or 15 years maybe. But at the same time, I have this experience of a mid-30 adult, and this is such an amazing combination, because I have everything at the same time, and I'm just running around with a smile.
Nice. And are you still adult enough to engage in a relationship?
Yeah, I don't know. I tried. And you can't ever be adult enough, or you can just be too adult for a relationship. I think that the childish behavior is always important.
Yeah. That's true.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Yeah. You mentioned breathwork. Like if you are just new on this channel, not doing any release tool, please don't start with breathwork, because you will get extreme symptoms usually, and you won't know how to release it.
Yeah, I can subscribe that. Yeah, because when big emotions come up and you don't know what's happening, you can really got a panic attack, I think.
Yeah. I used to have many panic attacks, in that phase, where I just started to figure things out. And how was it for you to have this faith, or knowing that you can have a symptom and then after a release your symptoms might be gone?
Yeah, this is really life-changing. It's amazing. It kind of feels like we're in control again, but also knowing we're not in control at all at the same time. So I, I think it's hard to describe. It's just amazing how life is changing when you're not afraid of your symptoms anymore or angry at your symptoms, but rather see the chances that come with it. Like, I think symptoms occur because your soul wants to talk to you and your body is showing you you're still in resistance, you're not really connecting to your true self, and this is kind of a communication tool. And once you learn to speak the language, it's just amazing, and you can connect to yourself again.
I think that's a good good image, that like you learn how to speak a language, and when you first apply this new language with a native speaker and you can do a conversation, that's the feeling. I can speak to my body and my emotions, and that's simply great. So I can do meditation for hours and it's not boring at all because I'm communicating with my body without using my mind. That's so cool. It's like our daughter just learned how to buy a bicycle within 30 minutes, it was just like a release. Suddenly she drove her bicycle and she was so amazed by that. And I could really feel how it was for her, but because I know that feeling now too. Yeah, I just forgot it, and back in like 25 years ago, it was the same for me, but not. But as an adult, you don't learn so much new stuff. So stuff that really counts in life. You can go on the internet and learn a lot of information, but you don't learn new stuff, really new, authentic, generic stuff. And that's what we just did. We learned the body language.
Amazing. And for anyone else who is on this journey and watching recovery interviews for some hope, is there anything that you would like to share to them?
I think, just be patient with yourself. Don't try to hurry healing. Don't try to do it in a stressful way. Just start to love yourself again. Start to be patient with yourself and take your time. Take whatever you need and get rid of all those expectations and fears and, for example, also the anger inside of you, and start enjoying your life again. Start healing. And for me, very important part, like Peter already mentioned, is meditation. So I did a Vipassana meditation course. This was the first connection for me with looking inside myself and connecting to myself. And at that time, I didn't have the tools to kind of understand what was going on with me there, but this was the first experience where I really had an intuitive way of doing something. And meditating every single day is a very important part in our life, I think, and helps us getting back to ourselves and kind of summing everything up.
Yeah. As I mentioned, breathwork is a powerful tool for major releases in an advanced level. But the meditation is also important for minor releases. So almost every day when I'm meditating, I have a minor release. I have slight shivers and stuff. And I know I'm feeling like I'm shivering and it's getting better, shake the stress away like Rihanna is singing. and we do this with meditation almost every day. And I think this is really the fine tuning of the healing process. So you can't do breathwork every day. One day you will be exhausted. So the meditation is really the basis for us. Okay, that was just to sum it up. I have also a recommendation for all the listeners. Find yourself a healing buddy. I think that's really, really important. So I have my healing buddy at home. That's really cool. So I'm really grateful for that experience. But it's really important to find someone who feels the same way in order to objectify your symptoms. Because if you're turning always around yourself, and it can be a downward spiral, and you gotta talk with somebody else to objectify, and also to be able to share your incredible story when you have a release or stuff. No one can understand but the people with fatigue, and I always compare the fatigue with a child. You don't understand it if you don't have it. So once you have fatigue, all the people with fatigue understand each other, and all the parents understand each other, what it means, that the journey. So I think a healing body is really important.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Like for me, I couldn't do it without Valentina. Couldn't have done it. Couldn't have developed the release program as well. And that's why part of the group sessions are as well, that people can connect with others to find a buddy.
Yeah, that's great.
That's so important.
Great work. Thank you.
And before, I didn't really think about it before, but Antonia's advice is a real doctor's advice. So if people are wanting to go to the doctor then and wanting some advice, then, well, here it is.
Don't take medication anymore.
Yeah, that would be probably good advice. Yeah.
Yeah, then we will change the world. Then pharma will get bankrupt and people will get healthy, maybe.
Yeah, and happy.
Okay, thank you so much for this beautiful interview. I loved it. And for everyone watching, please like and give it a subscription thing, like subscribe. And yeah, thank you all for watching. And both of you, thank you so much for willing to do the interview. I love both of your calm energies. The first time, I didn't know you were a couple, but I spoke with Antonia, and it was so calming because most people are like pretty very stressed, and I was like, whoa, this is new. This is like, even for me, I'm already very calm, but like, wow, this is soothing for me. And then I spoke with Peter, and I had the exact same experience. And then I asked if you were a couple, and yes, and yeah, it's amazing. So I'm so glad that that you are both willing to do the interview together.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. It was a great experience. Thank you, Daniel.
Okay. And yeah, I wish you both beautiful lives, and it seems to really kick off. So enjoy.
Thank you.
Thanks.